big guest inside the Pirate Radio studios, and somebody you already know and somebody you'll get to know a lot better. Former ECU wide receiver and Pirate coach Jason Nichols here with us today. And Jason got a big announcement about what's coming up this fall. But first of all, good to see you again. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good, Clip. How you doing?
Doing great. And you came in here excited about players reporting and practice starting tomorrow. And we are gearing up for the football season and coming up this fall. Jason Nichols will be a part of our pregame coverage, our postgame fifth quarter call-in show, as well as joining us during the week talking Pirate football. So, Jason, welcome to the team. And, I mean, we've talked to Jonathan a lot about this behind the scenes, that getting somebody that not only put in the blood and sweat and tears on the field, but also the coaching mind. Could not think of a better person to have joining us here for this football season. We are pumped to have you, man.
Well, man, I definitely appreciate you guys considering me and giving me this opportunity to sit here and talk football, Pirate football in particular, and I'm thrilled.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll have Jason with us leading up to the game. Once again, really going to enjoy your insight after the game on the fifth quarter. We have a lot of fans, some wild and crazy, some kind of under control, but either way, it's always a lot of fun. And to have you and Marcus as well on board with that, along with Billy Weaver, we're going to have a lot of fun talking Pirate football with you after each game. Have you ever been involved in a post-game call-in show before, Jason?
I have not. This will be my first time. I'm a rookie at this.
And don't take it easy on him. We're ready for it all. But man, that's really one of the highlights here at Pirate Radio, because win, lose, good, bad, however it goes, we get the immediate feedback from the Pirate Nation. And as you know, Coach, you win, we want a 5-year extension for you. If you lose, we're kind of thinking, should this guy get out of here? And we're just going to have to kind of wade through those waters. It gets a little tricky at times, but man, it's going to be a lot of fun.
No doubt. I'm looking forward to it, and definitely gives me an opportunity to stay connected and enjoy the season. Look at it from a totally different perspective.
Yeah, and that's why I like having you here, because you've got the player and coach perspective, now the kind of perspective of an outsider a bit, but knowing the game of football, and you are still kind of tuned in on what's going on, especially with ECU football, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I look at things and see things that come across, my Twitter and the internet and all that good stuff. But, I'm just excited to talk Pirate football.
Do you got the itch on a day like today to be out there?
You do. Today is like the go day. It's the day that we used to say we're going down under on that ship for about 3 or 4 months, and we're not coming back up. So, this is the day where you kiss the babies and tell the wife, hey, I see you in about 4 months, and get ready to go and get the team moving in the right direction.
Jason Nichols joining us. We'll be out at Pirate practice coming up on Wednesday, so they got to practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Coach Houston will be available coming up tomorrow and on Saturday, so we'll have some comments from him later on this fall camp. We'll talk to the players, the coordinators, but it is here's the schedule, Jason. You know all about this from your time as a coach and player, but when you see that, what kind of comes to mind? You talked about kissing the wife and saying see you later, but how about a player's perspective when they see this schedule? What's on tap for those guys?
As far as a player, what you're saying is it's go time, and you're getting your mind. You had all summer to get your workouts and get in shape for the season or whatnot. So at this moment, you're itching. You're ready to go. It'll be a lot of energy out there on that field tomorrow, the first day being back out on the football field, and you have to kind of channel that a little bit. I used to always try to tell my guys, it's not about how we practice here in week one when everybody's excited. It's how we're going to do it every day. So you got to kind of rein them in a little bit, but those guys will be excited. They'll be ready to go. The rookies, the incoming guys who's their first time practicing here at East Carolina, be it a transfer or a freshman, those guys are going to see this schedule and they got to get used to it. The older guys, this is where they got to take charge and kind of, let those guys know what to expect expect while they're out there and how things are going to go. I'm sure the coaches are going to have meetings and go over this with them as well. Tonight will probably be the first meeting that they're going to have as a team. And as a coach, what they're going to probably do is set the tone for camp and for the season. And so it's a start. I mean, it's what you look forward to. You get excited about.
As a player back in the 90s, Coach, are you looking and saying, where are the 2-a-days? Where are the 3-a-days? What's going on here?
3-a-days. Yeah, that was different. Now, I mean, most people probably don't even believe us now when we say it was a 3-a-day practice. It was a 3-a-day practice, and then they trimmed it back to 2, and now it's a 1-a-day. But no matter what, we used to call this Groundhog's Day, because when you look at this schedule, nothing's going to change for you as a player for the next 2 or 3 weeks, depending on, typically, your practice schedule is based on the opening game, how many practice opportunities you get in, but then it changes once you get into school. But you look forward to school as a player once you get down here later on into this schedule.
I was about to say, right now, you're football only. You are a football player. You got your school coming up.
Yes.
It's all football. So when you got into the coaching part of it, were you, and you didn't have those 2-a-days, 3-a-days later on in your life, did you still get the same amount of work in, or did you feel like y'all were getting more work in back then? How do you handle all that?
You feel like you still get the same amount of work in. What was happening was when we used to do 3-a-days back in the day, that very first practice was just like individual. So you get out there for about an hour or so, and it was just strictly individual. It wasn't any interactions. Then you would come back right before lunch, and you'll do like a 7-on-7 type of deal, special teams during that second practice. And then you go to lunch, lift weights, do whatever you had to do, come back, have a team meeting, 3:30, whatever it was that afternoon. And then you were back on the field in that 4 o'clock segment, and all you were doing was basically focusing on all team stuff. So it was the same amount now as it was broken up in, as far as individual, 7-on-7, special teams, and then strictly team in the afternoons.
You can get all that done now in this 2-3 hour span?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, okay. Jason Nichols joining us inside the Pirate Radio studios as East Carolina beginning practice coming up on Wednesday. We talked to Jack Powers yesterday, East Carolina rush-in, outside linebacker, and he said the conditioning test and all that stuff is done, and they are expected to come in and be ready right away from day one. Is that how you guys did it? When was the conditioning test back then?
Well, we had a couple that we did. We used to have to do a 40s test where we had to run 8 40s, and it was based off our 40s time. And then when we reported, we actually had to have a 110 test. There was 16 110s that we had to do, and Skill had to make them in a certain amount of time. But before we even left here for the summer, we had a 300 test. And now you ask any old pirate about that 300 test, man, and you'll start breaking out in sweat because, man, that thing used to keep you up at night.
You passed them with all flying colors, though.
We passed it. But I tell you what, sometimes it was a team effort. And really, that's what it was designed to be.
Right.
It was designed to be. We needed each other to get through it, and everybody stayed out and made sure everybody got through it. I
know you and Marcus talked about this in July and leading up to it, that when the coaches aren't around, what are you doing? And that's when you get the continuity, right? And we hope and we think that this players on this team has done that. But that's important leading up to camp, right? Especially receivers, quarterbacks, things like that.
Well, it's very important, this year too, probably more than anything else, because you have a new signal caller out there. So just getting on the same page with those guys, and I think you got a lot of incoming guys, new guys that's going to be in that receiving core for the Pirates this year. So it's definitely a situation where you got to spend a lot of time to get to know each other.